We're going to be talking about smart speakers and AI assistants today, which is super cool, super fun, kind of a new thing that's been emerging in the last few years. So, always cool to learn about new technology. So, to begin, what actually is AI, which stands for artificial intelligence? This is kind of a concept where intelligence demonstrated from machines is meant to mimic the natural intelligence of humans and animals. It has become increasingly common as a type of technology seen in products such as robots, children's toys, and AI assistants. So it's emerging in the world of technology. It's got many different uses and lots of potential. Then, differently, or kind of another sort of AI, is AI assistants. And these are also known as smart assistants, and they are basically just a voice activated search engine. And they also play music, answer questions, etc. So, an example of this would be Alexa, which is an Amazon Alexa. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with this, but you say, like, hey, Alexa, and she can do things like turn on the lights in your home if you've got your electricity attached to it as well. They can tell jokes, they can tell you the weather, I think you can just talk to them. So it's really cool. They're very interactive, and there's so many different things you can do with them. In terms of how they were created, there are large companies that have the goal of benefiting us with hands-free technology. So that's kind of the main thing that drives AI assistance, is the idea of making it easier and more convenient for people to use technology. As I mentioned, you can ask questions, give it commands, and it will actually respond to you. The only thing that you need is, of course, the device or technology itself, and also an internet connection. Now, some examples. Siri, which was designed by Apple iPhone and is accessible on every Apple device. So this one came out quite a few years ago now, but it's built into your smartphone if you have an Apple phone. There's also Cortana, which is similar to Siri, but instead it is on Windows devices, and most commonly you'll find it on HP laptops. And I was kind of jumping the gun earlier, but Amazon or Echo Alexa or even Google Homes are different AI assistants in that they're not installed in devices, but they are portable speakers that you plug in. So instead of it being on your smartphone, it's in your home or kind of in a room in your home. So now that we've discussed what AI actually can do and some of its potential in terms of AI assistance, we're going to now delve a bit deeper into smart speakers. Firstly, we're going to be discussing Google Home. This was created by the well-known company Google, and it's available at stores such as Best Buy and Walmart, and they're about $100. You then, once you've started to use them and you've set them up, activate them by saying, hey, Google. And from there, they'll activate and be ready for any questions or requests that you may have for it. And then just another note is that Google Home Minis are smaller, quieter, and therefore are closer to $50, so are a cheaper alternative for similar functions. And importantly, Google Homes are voice activated once you plug them into an outlet. So make sure that they're plugged into a wall socket so that you can actually use them. But now we're going to pivot a little bit and talk about smart speaker functions. And some of the things that can be done include playing music on Spotify or another music streaming platform. You can conduct Google searches. You can locate your phone, set alarms, ask for the time, weather, or news, make calls, play sounds such as white noise to help you fall asleep, set reminders, and so much more. So that's something that is really great about AI assistants, and in particular smart speakers, is that you can integrate them with a lot of different functions to make them very kind of far reaching in terms of what it can do for you. Now, instead of talking about kind of the devices, we're going to move into pre-installed virtual assistants. So those would be things such as Siri to begin with, but also alternatives for Android and Windows devices as well. So for Siri, a bit more detail on this particular platform, or I guess assistant, is that it's specifically for Apple users and it's automatically downloaded on any Apple device. So it makes it super easy to access because it's already there. You do have to say, "Hey Siri," enabled in settings in order for it to work by oral activation. So if you're saying to your phone, hey Siri," you have to actually make sure that in settings it's enabled to pick up your voice because that's something that you have to turn on yourself. So it won't just automatically hear you. You have to make sure you've set it up. And some things that Siri can do is that it gives recommendations, answers to questions, and it can even perform actions by delegating requests to a set of internet services. Something that's really helpful, for example, would be like, "Hey Siri, set an alarm for 10 minutes." If you're baking something or you just have something to do in 10 minutes, so it will be able to answer kind of simple tasks like that, which make life so much easier. So I did mention that you have to activate Siri yourself. It is already in your phone, but you kind of need to turn it on. So to do this, you want to go to settings and then go to the Siri and search category, and then click on enable Siri. In the settings tabs, you can also change the tone as well as the accent of Siri's voice. So you can change it to a British accent, a man, a woman, and it lets you personalize it a little bit in that way. After you have enabled Siri, you can activate it by clicking on the home button and you hold it down for a few seconds until Siri activates, and then you speak your question or command. So you'll see it kind of pop up on your screen with kind of the wave that you see here in the icon. It's purpley blue. It'll pop up at the bottom of your screen. Or if you're on a computer, it might be in the corner of your screen. So here's an example taken from an iPad. So here is the Siri and search, and then you want to enable it to listen for "Hey Siri." If you want to activate it by pressing down on your home screen, you can also enable that. And also something that's useful is that if you want to be able to use Siri when your phone is locked, then you do also have to enable that. If not, then you have to put in your passcode or use your face identification or fingerprint in order to open up your phone and then use Siri. So moving on to our next AI assistant is Amazon Echo or Alexa. And the Echo is basically Amazon's version of the Google Home, and it comes in a lot of different sizes. Because of this, there's kind of a wide price range, so you can get them for $50 to $130. And again, they can be purchased from stores such as Best Buy, The Source, Walmart, and Amazon. In this case, Alexa is the AI that lives inside of the smart device, so they've named it to make it a bit more personable and make it, I think, more like you're talking to someone. And they do also use voice activation, similar to Google Home, after you've plugged it into a power source. And the way to activate it is to say, "Hey Alexa," and then it will respond to you. But alternatively, you may be a user that's more familiar with Cortana. And this is a virtual assistant that was developed by Microsoft. It, like Siri, is pre-installed on your Windows laptops and can also be activated by voice. It does use Bing search engine to answer questions, adjust settings, and also manage your schedule and reminders. So now a few steps on how to activate Cortana if you're wanting to use it on your Windows device. You have to go to the search bar in the bottom left of your computer and locate App Settings, and then click Enable. A different way that you can do this is through the Settings application. If you type Cortana into the search bar and then you click on kind of the pop-up and then you click on the Enable switch. So there's two different ways you can do it, but both end in the same way. And here's just a screenshot to outline those steps in a bit more emphasis. So you can click on if you click this toggle, and it would let Cortana respond to Hey Cortana. And just a note that it does use more battery when this function is turned on. And you can also enable a keyboard shortcut, which lets you have Cortana listen for commands when you press the Windows logo key and the C key at the same time. Okay, so now that we've gone over kind of some of the different options, including different home ones as well as built-in assistants, we're going to kind of compare them by going over the pros and the cons. So some of the pros are that it's easy to use, it provides you with reliable information from the internet, it has lots of different uses. It's also helpful for when you get bored, and they are always accessible as long as they're plugged in. Some of the cons are that they can be expensive. Sometimes the setup is a bit confusing and can be frustrating. They do depend on Wi-Fi connections, and there are some times where it can't pick up your voice. So, as with all technology and the internet, nothing is always perfect 100% of the time. And of course, it's always important to consider security and privacy when talking about technology and anything related to using devices or assistants in this case. So, in terms of the AI assistant, it is hooked up to your personal Wi Fi network, which only people that you choose are able to access. It is important to note that the information that you enter into your device may be stored. So it's important to read the associated privacy policy in order to find out what information is collected and why, and if you are able to update, manage, delete, or export it. So you just need to be fully aware and clear on what the company is able to do with any information associated with your assistant. In terms of Google Home, you can review and update your Google account setting at any time, and that will then let you select what you share with your assistant. So in that way, Google has that customization, which allows you to feel more secure and private. And if you do have security concerns, then you can always mute the microphone when you're not using it, which would then prevent it from picking up any information. You can also review and delete any voice recordings. You can disable personal results, and you can turn off your device when you're away so that nobody else can access it. Now, just some tips for when you are using smart assistants, if you choose to have one. You want to always make sure that you're speaking clearly and loudly so that it can pick up your voice. So this would mean that you need to avoid whispering or mumbling. You can also add a payment method and delivery address to be able to make voice-activated purchases if that's something you're interested in. I think I briefly mentioned this earlier, but you can also hook it up to other smart devices in your home, and then you can use it to control things like the lights, TVs, etc. So it can kind of make you have a smart home, is what lots of people refer to it as. You can also connect your preferred music streaming as your default music player. So that would be doing something along the lines of what was done in, I think, the second video with connecting Spotify to the Amazon Alexa. You can also change the name that your device refers to you as, so it will speak back to you and you can change what it calls you. And you can even set it up so that it only recognizes your voice and does not respond to anyone else. So we have been through lots of options, but there are even more alternative AI assistant applications. This includes Google Assistant, Bixby Voice Assistant, Hound, Jarvis Personal Assistant, Lyra Virtual Assistant, and Robin as well.
Perfect.
So it does bring us to the end. So we want to thank everybody so much for listening and joining us today. If you'd like to learn this lesson with a Cyber Seniors mentor in a more one-on-one kind of environment, then please go to our website or call the phone number to register for that session. We do also host weekly tech drop-in sessions from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursdays, where everybody is more than welcome to join with any tech-related questions.